Hey, I'm Jess Hugo, personal trainer and nutritionist, and I am here to show you that life is messy, but we're doing it anyway. Welcome to Doing It Anyway, the podcast for building the life that you want without burning out. Let's get into it. Every single year that I start setting my goals and I think about the year and I'm thinking about what success means to me and what happiness would mean to me and just all of the things, I feel like, and I've talked about this specifically before where we kind of just like achieve a goal and move on to the next, but I also feel like we set so many goals of things that we think will make us happy, but like reality is like they actually didn't, or it just felt like not even worth celebrating once we like achieved that. And I think it's because a lot of the time as well, what we think is going to be the outcome is so different to what the outcome is. And I can just think about things with work and friendships and all of the things, and we in our head we hype it up, it's going to look like this, it's going to be like this, and then in reality like you're dealing with so much shit in the back end and you're like, whoa, like this is not what I thought it would be like at all. So I really just want to go through things that I really thought that would just like really make me happy, really make me feel like I'd finally reached that point and felt like, and I'd really feel like super confident, super happy, proud of myself, feeling like I've made it, like those types of things that I'd hyped up so much in my head. But then like looking back, I actually don't think those things gave me what I expected them to. And in saying all of that, I'm still like the most confident version of myself now. I'm still like, you know, all of those things. But I just think as well, it's really cool to normalize, like maybe you did think you were going to have this really amazing career and then you got into the industry and realized you weren't passionate about it. You didn't like all of the things. I'm spoiling the whole episode, but I just really want to normalize that like it's actually okay to set a goal and think something's going to make you really, really happy and then it doesn't. So I really, really want to like talk about it, because what's even more interesting is that even when I did kind of achieve things, I still found myself kind of moving on to the next goal straight away, almost instantly, and not really like celebrating that, not stopping, not acknowledging, not really feeling like I'd actually arrived anywhere and achieved anything. So it really just made me question, like, why do we keep chasing things that don't actually make us feel the way that we thought that we would or that they would? But I think it's because as well we hype it up so much in our head. So it's really that illusion, right? We're kind of conditioned to believe that happiness is something that we arrive at later. And like, don't get me wrong, of course you're always going to have goals in mind that you want to work towards, and of course you're going to associate, you know, moving out equaling oh my God, why is that happening to me? Anyway, equals happiness. So like, of course, we're going to think that we're kind of conditioned to believe it's something we arrive at later. Like once I lose the weight, once I get the dream career, once I figure out my life, like once I become more confident, then I'll feel really good. Then I'll feel like myself. Then like life will actually be worth living. But what actually tends to happen is life doesn't feel that clean final moment. Like even once we get there, there's probably still 101 fires happening in the background. So then you kind of just achieve something and then keep going. And sometimes you don't even stop long enough to kind of realize what's changed. And I've talked about this before, where I will look back on the last few months or whatever and be like, oh, I don't even know if I've done much and achieved much. And it's because life just moves so quick. But then what I actually do is I go through my camera roll and let my camera roll kind of dictate my thoughts rather than me having the thoughts. And then I'm like, oh yeah, well, I went to Newcastle like every month, or oh yeah, I actually went to that brand event or whatever. And it is crazy how quick things go. Like I went to a brand event literally August 2025, so almost a whole year ago now, but it feels like it wasn't that long ago, but it was at the same time. It's so crazy, like just how time moves and things. And then I remember in that moment, I was like, oh cool, I'm at this brand event and whatever. And if you weren't around at that time, I didn't know anyone there. I went alone. I did ask if I could bring someone, but they were like, well, at capacity. I was like, whatever, that's fine. It was a collaboration with an activewear company and like the grounds in the city, and there was a third one. Oh yeah, oh my God, what's that milk company? The oat milk, Oatly, what is it? I don't know, you will know what I'm talking about. Anyway, and I was like, okay, like vibes, I'm going to go, it's yoga, it's going to be fun, activewear, cool vibes, but I don't know anyone. And like you can get really hit or miss at influencer events. I've been to a few before. Some of them are like really nice, down to earth girls. Some of them are like really up themselves, taking photos the whole entire time. It feels so not authentic. Like actually recently I was scrolling on my Instagram. Also, by the way, if you came in here for a non-chatty episode, you're gonna have to come off, because I'm chatting, I'm segueing, I'm doing 100 things. You know how my brain works. I was scrolling through my Instagram and these girls were like making content at a branded event for something, I don't know what it was. But they were just like being silly, making silly TikToks. It was fine. But in the background, you could just see everyone taking 101 photos of each other. And like, that is honestly the definition of brand events. I swear to God, they just get every girl in the room. Sometimes there's boys actually. So everyone, not just every girl. And just get you taking 101 billion photos. And even like there was a professional photographer at the one I went to, and they were taking photos of us. And then if you like looked in the background, it's just all these people taking photos. And I was like, it looks so not authentic at all. Like, it just looks honestly bad. Anyway, I actually, when I was going there, was on the street and I didn't know how to get in, and I saw this girl and she just was like dressed in activewear, and I was like, she's definitely going to this event. So I ran up to her and I was like, hey, like, are you going to the event? Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, yeah. Anyway, turns out that was one of the girls from Dance Life, the series on Prime. Very random. It's like they follow Brent Street Dance, and she was like one of the most important ones kind of on this series, and they like followed her life and journey and whatever. I actually did not put two and two together. I befriended her, she told me her name, she told me she was a dancer, whatever, and then like once she started talking more, I realized that it was the same girl from the series that I literally had watched. But if that just goes to show that like fangirling is not the way to go, I don't know what is. Not that it's like, obviously she's just a normal girl at the end of the day and whatever, but I actually did not clock that it was her. And then we actually, you know, became friends, hung out the whole time. There's like photos of us and stuff like that, and I was like, that is so random. Like, can't believe that. And then when we think about the timeline of things, right, like there's so many things that even like following along from just her, for example, they went to like Europe and filmed like a Dance Life, I don't know, movie. It was in the cinemas recently. I have not watched it, but it's just crazy to think like how quick time moves and how many different things happen. But how cool is that I like met her, befriended her, whatever. Now we're like connected on Instagram and whatever. I'll probably run into her at another one, who knows. And I don't even think I made that a big deal at all. I think I've probably barely talked about it. I did post a photo of us on Instagram, but I actually think we just look like friends. Like, I didn't make it a thing of like, oh my God, like this girl's in a TV show. Like, that's just so weird. But I think that we actually looked like good friends in the photo. Like, you wouldn't know that we didn't know each other type thing. And I was like, that is so cool. Like, why didn't I celebrate that? Why didn't I actually be like, wow, I'm at this event with like 3 brands. I'm befriending this girl that I just ran up to on the street. We actually really got along. We chatted the whole time. It was just good vibes. So I just feel like we really need to take a moment to be like, wow, I've achieved so much, rather than achieving and moving on, achieving and moving on. It's like this constant loop and never really like landing anywhere emotionally. And the other day I was thinking like, am I broken? Like, I just felt like there was so many fucking bad things and good things happening at once, and it felt very up and down and up and down. And it's actually felt this way for a few months, and I literally was like to Tay, oh my God, I'm insane, because we talked about something and then she was like, oh, new financial year, new fresh year, like just a business fucking joke. And I was like, and then like literally 2 weeks in, I was like, okay, I feel the same now. It's like up, down, shit everywhere, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, why am I not like sad about it? And I was like, I think it's because I'm just like, I just deal with it every single time and just like move on. And it's like, where can we actually allow ourselves to land in it, feel emotional, and have like an outcome of that and like sit with it for a minute? And I think there's 2 sides to things, right? Whether you're running a business or you're climbing a corporate ladder or whatever, we're really told that we have to just keep like moving up and not worrying and like not looking backwards and keep going. But I also think that it can make you really like numb in other situations. Like, I just feel like the most random shit will happen and I'll just be like, cool. I'm just like, okay. And I was like, am I broken? But I think it's because, as I said, we just move on so quickly. And I think as well, achievement doesn't always feel like a feeling that we expect. Hopefully that makes sense. But I think that's where a lot of us get stuck, because when we do things we once really, really wanted, looked forward to, really worked towards, it doesn't always feel as satisfying as we thought it would. I even think about some girls that I know who have been doing the same like dance, like been with the same dance company and stuff like that for years and years and years and years. It took them like 15, 18, 20 years to actually be recognized. Some of the girls have been doing it for 15 years and still haven't actually achieved their ultimate goal. And it's like, sometimes that is a lot of time and energy, and most people give up by then. So that's actually a huge kudos to them and their commitment to themselves and all of the things. But I think as well, like, you work so hard up to it, almost by the time you get to it 20 years later, it's like, oh, like it almost doesn't feel as good as what you hyped it up to be, because you worked so fucking hard to get there. And that's why it's almost like, oh, it didn't actually feel that good. It actually wasn't what I kind of expected and thought it would feel like. It's actually not very satisfying. And it's not because it wasn't worth it, but it's because we don't actually let ourselves sit in it and we think about all the hardship we went through to get there, and think about, again, like climbing the corporate ladder, going from uni into a career, like trying to, even like if you're a teacher, for example, trying to get a placement or get a permanent job or casual jobs at like the best schools and things like that. And then once you get it, you're kind of just like, oh, thank God. And then that's kind of it. But you forget about all the stress at uni, trying to get the best grades, trying to, when you had to pick up all the slack in the group project and do everyone else's work because no one did it. Like, it's almost like we just move on because we don't actually let ourselves sit and like, wow, I'm at like the school that I wanted, teaching this class that I wanted after all that fucking bullshit, me thinking I wasn't even going to go to uni. Like, you know what I mean? Insert the story. And I think it's because as well, we're so used to minimizing our wins and like brushing past our achievements, immediately kind of thinking what needs fixing, what's next, focusing on like everything forward rather than what just happened. And I think it's also just a fixing mindset as well, right? Because this is something really common with like thinking of when people get work done. I hate my nose. Cool, I'm going to get a nose job. Oh, now I hate my forehead wrinkles. I'm going to get Botox. Oh, now I hate my eyes. I'm going to get fox eye surgery. Like, it's just never ending when at the start of that, you probably hadn't even noticed your eyes or thought anything of your eyes. You know what I mean? So I think it's this trickle effect of like everything. And I know a lot of people talk about like tall poppy syndrome in Australia and comparison in Australia and all of the things. I actually am going to go against the grain a little bit. I actually think everyone is low-key jealous of everyone regardless of how successful they are. I honestly have found that people will create a narrative in their head and completely believe it. Is it just an Australian thing? I'm not sure. I feel like the United States is just a bit of a different breed, and that the population is so big that maybe it just feels different there, and maybe it's a bit more normalized and accepted there. Like, obviously, since we were really young, a lot of influencers and YouTubers, and before influencers are even a thing, right? Think of family vlogging, all of those things. That was from like the United States. That wasn't something that was common here. So I think, is it tall poppy syndrome, or is it people just being like so against what is now becoming the norm and people being so afraid of change and not, because let's be real, like people don't do it. If you're someone right now that does post content and you're someone that is trying to build something and stuff like that, the general population doesn't do it. You might meet someone that is posting a silly TikTok here and there, but also the general population, and you could probably relate to this if you're like, I'm not building a business or anything, I'm just chilling, deletes their Instagram all the time, overthinks every single post they're posting, will only post really specific stuff on their story, will nitpick themselves completely. I was having a conversation the other day and she was talking about how her job's so physically demanding, she fucking hates it, and it's like her mum was like, why don't you just do TikTok or whatever? And the reason I'm laughing is because it's giving like the Kim Kardashian, why don't you just call Taylor up, like as if it's possible to just go start it right now and make money overnight and things like that. And then she was like, I actually did start making them a few years ago, but I felt really cringe and deleted them all and overthought everything. And I was like, but the only people that think you're cringe are the people not doing it. The only people judging you are the people that are jealous of you. The only people that are saying anything are people that you don't want around you anyway. Like, I don't want friends. I don't want to be friends with girls if they're judging me for my Instagram, if they're judging me for my story. And I did recently meet someone and I was like taken aback a bit when she was like, oh, like you just post so much, like you just put so much content out or whatever. And I was like, feel free to mute me. Like literally I was like, you're a fucking bitch. No one forced you to follow me. No one's forced you to complain about my content to my face. And I actually literally said that. I was like, first and foremost, like it's my business. I have built my whole entire business from that page, but feel free to mute me is quote unquote what I said. And I think she was a bit embarrassed after that because you're just saying that because you don't have anything going on, right? And if you're thinking like, wow, Jess, you're such a bitch, this is the mindset you need to have. You need to actually just like water off my back. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not going to even give you any more of my energy, right? Like you're not even worth my time or my energy. You're so fucking annoying. Like even just saying that, you're so annoying. And I think she realized that she was definitely wrong for speaking like that. And there's definitely a bit of like weird vibes between us now because I just don't stand for that shit. I'm just like, don't project your internal worries on me because I'm obviously doing better, right? And you have every opportunity to do better, but you don't want to achieve more, and that's fine. But you can stay small then. We're big achieving girls here. So we're actually going to let everything register internally when something big and meaningful happens. We're not just going to keep ticking the box and moving on. I really want to talk about as well, like career expectations, especially like going uni to corporate or like whatever that pathway might look like. You might be at TAFE, you might be taking a gap year, like there's no right or wrong here. But for me, one version of this was like the idea of having a very traditional, cool, I'm going to get a really good ATAR, I'm going to go to uni, I'm going to go to like a corporate pathway, like I'm going to do an internship, I'm going to do all these things to like get at a really good law firm and blah, 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 blah. And at the time it felt really like good. Like if I do this, I'll be really secure and stable. I have something solid. I was like, oh, it probably will take like 5, 6, 7 years to really like build it up. And then by that point, I remember when we were like younger, everyone was like, oh, but then at that point, like women then have kids and then you can't have a career and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I don't know, but it's going to take me 5 to 7 years to figure that out. So there was just really that comfort in that idea of like, this is exactly what happens, which is so funny for me to say because now there's like, you never know what's going to happen in day to day of running your own business, right? So there is actually no stability. You don't actually realize or know what's going to happen. You could get 101 inquiries tomorrow and completely blow up your business. So I think it is absolutely the opposite of everything that I thought before of having that really traditional and solid and stable career. But you don't realize how much your actual day-to-day life matters and how much sustainability can feel really mundane. I definitely think there's a balance here. I talk about this often that you need a routine, right? But then don't get stuck in the day-to-day of like, yeah, I'm waking up, I'm eating my breakfast, I'm going to work, I'm coming home from work, stressed out of my brain, and now I'm not doing anything else. I'm gonna couch rot and go to bed. Like, that is not the vibe, not sustainable. That's why you're feeling like shit. And when I think about that version of like the long term of like traditional, what I thought was going to happen, I actually don't align with any of those values. I actually value my health, my energy, my lifestyle. And like, I'm not saying there's any right or wrong in what you choose to do, but I actually can't see myself even ever being able to work that type of job. Even if I quit everything tomorrow, went back to uni, continued my studies and worked in that career, I could not see myself doing any of that because that does not align with anything I want. I'm not someone that can sit at my desk for 7 hours a day anymore. I'm someone that wants to get my steps. I want to do my strength training session. I want to challenge myself and push myself with different workouts and different things. I'm not someone that can see myself working in like a skyrise fucking office with a fucking dirty fucking window looking over the city, romanticizing the city, which is so funny because I remember when I was like in year 11 and 12, I was like, yep, I'm going to like commute. I'm going to go into the city and work from the city. Oh my God, that would take me so much time. That would take me like over an hour and a half every single day. I'd have to leave for work at 6 a.m. And like, you're probably listening to this, like, that's what I have to do. Cool. But like, we're different. And that's like not the vibe for me, right? So it's also being okay with like, I actually can just make any decision I want and I can change my mind and I can discover myself in new things. And I don't want to actually be someone that rolls out of bed feeling sluggish. I see this with so many women. Rolling out of bed, feeling really sluggish, going about your day, surviving on chockies and coffee, going for the 2 p.m. sweet treat that's been creeping up to 11 a.m. because you can't stand the stress at work anymore, going home, just like especially daylight savings, actually achieving nothing in your day outside of work stuff, which is still a huge achievement. But what about you, your health, your energy? And then on the weekends, you're playing catch up. So then the weekend flies by because you're like, fuck, I actually need to rest and recover from how stressful that week was. But you also feel like shit because there's barely any movement in there. And something I recently implemented with one of my clients was, let's actually create a daily stretch routine that's unrelated to your workouts and your health and fitness routine, because you are holding so much stress and tension in your body from your job. Her work has been so stressful lately, and whilst she's still been ticking the boxes, getting her sessions done, tracking, she's actually still been seeing phenomenal weight loss results. I literally saw her graph today and I was like, fuck, how have we just hit another new low weight? She's insane. I love her. But I was like, you're now feeling a lot of tension, a lot of stress, and you're falling into, oh, I want to emotionally eat. And I was like, let's get ahead of it now before that happens, right? And I was like, let's do a daily stretch routine, really get the tension out of your body. Let's just do 10 minutes and like, that's it. It doesn't need to be in the gym. It can be on your bedroom floor, before fucking bed, whatever. She's been implementing that, and I'm not even kidding how much better she's feeling, and her body is responding in such positive ways. Sometimes it's little tweaks like that. And I don't know why social media, I'm going to assume, is why actually we've been kind of told like, you need to be in the gym every day and you need to be doing this. Like, no, actually just do a 10-minute stretch routine and see how you feel. And if you're right now sitting there thinking, I don't want to get on the fucking ground, that's your problem. That's holding you back. That's why you're feeling so unhappy in your day-to-day stuff. Right? That's like such a huge awakening. And it's like, oh, I thought this career was going to make me happy, but I actually feel like shit. But then I won't want to do anything and implement anything to work on this, like a stretch routine. So something to think about. Especially sacrificing experiences for future goals. Like another thing I kind of realize is how easy it is to just kind of sacrifice parts of your life for a future outcome. For me, it showed up when I was younger. I quit netball. I quit dance. I really gave up everything during HSC to focus on studying because at the time that felt like a priority. And again, it's not saying like there's a right or wrong. It really just made sense for the season of life I was in. But what I didn't really fully understand then is like, oh, I just give this all up now and go all in. But I actually could have managed fine keeping up with at least one of them. I definitely did not need to quit both. And I remember at the time lacking confidence in going to a different dance studio because we'd like moved and stuff. And then I remember for netball, I wasn't loving the local one to me because we had moved as well. So I felt like there was this big shift of identity of like I had so much at home. And then once we moved, I'd kept up with it for a few years. I obviously didn't have my license or anything yet. So my mum was taking me back and stuff. And then once I did get like my license, I guess it was my kind of choice of what I wanted to do. And I was like, I do not want to like keep going back. We don't live there anymore, you know what I mean? But then the vibes here were just not the same. And then I just gave up everything anyway and was like, well, I need to focus on HSC and stuff like that. When reality is like, I actually wish I did it different and I focused on different things and kept things in there or even picked up something different because I was really sacrificing a lot just for a goal. You don't actually need to sacrifice. You actually can do it all. And there's duality in that, right? Because it's like you can do it all, but maybe you'll do 7 things at 10% or whatever, but you could do one thing at like 100%. But like, also we need to have balance in things. It can't just be work or whatever. So that's something I've really been thinking about recently this year. Coming into this year, a lot of changes around like how I'm setting up my work schedule and structure and what I'm actually doing outside of work and actually making time for those things because I've already done the sacrifice before and I didn't like the outcome. So it's like really figuring out what actually makes sense and making space for things that aren't just productive, aren't just work related. Like resting is actually for laying down, reading a book, like lying outside, getting out in the fresh air, getting off your phone. Like resting isn't like, oh, I'm not going to the gym today, but I'm still going to do 20,000 fucking steps. I'm going to scroll. I'm going to read all my emails, even though it's my day off. You know what I mean? Like actually making sure you make time for those things because it's really, really important. Especially when we are losing parts of ourselves, it's really important to rediscover ourselves. So like for me, I used to love reading when I was younger. As I just said, getting outside, reading. I had all these books. I genuinely really enjoyed it. It was just part of my life. I would go to the op shops and I would get like $1 books. Had library cards. I would go to the library regularly and borrow books. I was obsessed. I had a Kindle when I was younger. My dad got me a Kindle when I was under 12. Like I'm going to say between 8 to 12. I don't know exactly how old I was, but it was at our old house. So I was under 12 and I was like, what the hell is this? This is so weird. I actually remember fully how they set it up. They had it in like a box and he was like, do you want $50 or the thing in this box? And I was like, $50. It was a big box as well. They obviously were playing me. And then he's like, no, take the box thing, whatever. Anyway, it was a Kindle. At the time, I didn't even understand obviously what that was and stuff like that, which what an ungrateful brat. Obviously, it wasn't a big deal then. I literally have it somewhere in my room. I don't know where. This house, you lose everything. I can't find my iPad case. I can't find my Apple Pencil. Someone's fucking stolen it. I don't know who. This is a running joke in my house because in the gym, my clients, I have only like 2 or 4. I think I have 4, 5-kilo plates and they always go missing. And then we're always looking in the gym like, where are these plates? And I'm like, one of you bitches put it into a bag. I'm just always not actually accusing, but accusing people of stealing my shit. Like, where is my Apple Pen? Where is my fucking Kindle? My old Kindle. Anyway, getting off track there. But I loved it is my point. I had it all. And then over time I just stopped. Oh, HSC, this is so important. This. I've got netball, I've got dance, I've got this, I've got competitions, I've got weekends like training, blah, blah, blah. And then I actually just stopped for years. I actually feel like I stopped maybe year 11, year 12, first year of uni, and then like 2021. Or maybe the end of 2022 because I'm feeling like COVID, maybe I picked it back up. I'm not exactly sure of the timeline, but I do have Storygraph. If you're a book girly, add me on Storygraph so that you can see my books and I can see your books. It's so good actually to just get inspo. I've got a lot of my clients on there now and then they can actually just get inspo from what I'm reading because I'm such a freak and I read more than them. But they're like, oh, what's Jess been reading? What's Jess rated and stuff like that. It's really cool for discovering different genres and stuff. Why does this sound like an ad? I fucking wish. I'm getting off track again. But essentially, like, I got back into it and now I'm like obsessed. As I said, I'm putting everything into this app. I actually write actual written reviews. I rate it stars. I talk about it with my friends and my clients, and just, it's actually so good because it's rediscovering parts of yourself. Why did I just stop? I didn't stop liking it, but it's because life got busy, priorities shifted, and it slowly just disappeared. And even though I still had all those books sitting there, I actually wasn't engaging with them. But as I said, I picked it back up in 2021. I was reading physical books. I purchased some. It must have been COVID, because like, why did I go out and purchase them? Oh, I didn't even go out. I ordered them to my house. I ordered like $100 worth of books, which is like 10 on Amazon. And I got back into it. And then eventually, I think 2023, maybe, I got a Kindle and I was just like, this is the bee's knees. I actually love it, which is so funny because I never stopped loving it. And it's just become something really grounding for me, something to separate from phone use and life and whatever. And I've been trying to convince some of my clients to get Kindles, and they're like, oh, but it's still like technology. Totally get that. But hear me out. Laying in bed in winter, your hands are really cold. You've got a little clicker and you can change the pages with a clicker. You can lean your Kindle up on a stand, or I even lean it on my dog sometimes. She like is laying perfectly there and I'm like, perfectly, that's my Kindle stand. Or even just like, it's after 5:30, God fucking forbid, and you want to read your book. Obviously, it's so dark outside is what I'm saying. You don't need a light on if you don't want. You can actually make it warm. I have the Paperwhite. I don't know if they're all like this, but you can make them like warm. You can bring the brightness down, and it doesn't feel the same as a phone because it really replicates a book. So I do love that. I've even I've bought books for clients before and gifted them like Dimmix gift cards and stuff, so they can actually just find books that really resonate with them as well. Because a lot of people do think, I'm not a reader, I'm not good at that. And I actually don't think it's true. I just think most of you haven't had the time to find the right genre or book that actually feels like you yet. Because for me, reading isn't about some sappy romance. I'm not into romance. What I love is a thriller where it's a page turn. You're like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? You get immersed in that world. I think that is really cool as well. But anyway, I'm really going on about books. If you have any book related questions, just send me a DM. I'm pretty sure my username is just Jess Hugo. I don't just accept everyone though. So if we've never talked before, just send me a message so that I know that you came from the podcast, and I will add you back, of course. But anyway, getting off the book chat. The real pattern underneath all of this is like, when you really zoom out, there's that common thread, right? We're really good at knowing what we want. We're really good at setting these goals. We're really good at striving towards them. But not everything is always going to create happiness for us. We're actually going to sacrifice things along the way and then realize that we aren't happy and we've lost so many parts of our identity. Sometimes we're not as good at actually experiencing our lives while we're building them. So we'll delay things, we'll sacrifice things, we'll over-focus on the outcome and really underestimate the present moment and disconnect from parts of ourselves, our identity, who we are, who we were becoming, just because we're in another process. And I think that's the shift I've been coming back to a lot recently, because things don't actually make you happy just because you achieve them. And even when you do achieve something, it doesn't always land the way you expect it to. It doesn't always feel the same. And it's not because it wasn't valuable and it wasn't a big deal or anything like that. It's just like you end up achieving it, not experiencing it really, and like ticking a box. Reality is, you don't just become happy when you reach a goal. You become happy through the way that you live getting there, the processes of getting there. Like I was saying before, 18 years of hard work, that is the work that you've put in for 18 years. That is the outcome. Not just the ticking of the box of getting that first place medal or whatever it may be. And I think a lot of us are actually a lot closer to the life that we want to live than we realize, but we do hold ourselves back and stop ourselves from getting there. And I don't think the shift here is becoming someone completely different and like overhauling your whole entire life, but it's really just like learning how to stay connected to the life you're building. And if you feel like you're lacking support in things right now, go and find that level of support. Don't think, oh, I'm supposed to be happy and I'm not happy and I'm just going to sit in it. No, go find those levels of support. Go find those connections to really get back into that space of feeling really confident and happy and proud in yourself, because you never know what can happen. And that is a wrap on another episode of Doing It Anyway. If you enjoyed today's episode, I would love for you to rate it 5 stars, share it with your friends, share it on your stories. And if you have any feedback, I would love to hear it. Please shoot me a DM on Instagram. All my links are below. See you in the next episode.